The knuckles got through the glove, and you feel it, you're like, oh.
Top 10 worst injuries in MMA history. If you're an MMA fan, you'd know just how nasty and dangerous the sport can get. And of course, why won't things get bloody when men and women throw body parts at each other with the maximum amount of force their bodies can muster, all in a bid to subdue their opponents? However, sometimes things go too far. MMA has seen some of the most shocking and horrific injuries ever witnessed in professional sports. In today's video, we'll be counting down the top 10 worst injuries in MMA history. Number 1 will leave you in disbelief. Without wasting any more time, let's dive right in. At number 10, we have Alistair Overeem's lip tear. Have you ever bit your lip while chewing on something? Can you remember the pain you felt at that moment? Now imagine that pain being 100 times worse. This was probably what Alistair Overeem felt when he tore his lip in the octagon. Alistair Overeem was one of the most feared strikers in MMA history. However, when he squared off against Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he didn't know he'd be getting an indelible mark from that fight. During the fight, Overeem controlled the majority of the rounds, using his experience and technical skills to stay ahead. However, as the clock ticked down to the final seconds, Rozenstruik landed a devastating punch that changed everything. That punch not only knocked Overeem down, but it also tore his lip apart. In the blink of an eye, his upper lip was split wide open in one of the most nasty injuries ever seen in the octagon. The wound was so serious that his lip almost looked like it was hanging off his face. After the fight, Overeem had to go through extensive reconstructive surgery to repair the damage.
I did not have any pain at all. I did not feel any pain.
However, a few months later, he was back in the ring, proving that it would take more than a torn lip to take him out. Number 9. Jon Jones's dislocated toe. On April 28, 2013, during a UFC 159 fight, Jon Jones accidentally dislocated his big toe while defending his light heavyweight title against Chael Sonnen. When the fight started, things went exactly the way the fans had predicted, with Jones dominating the fight from the get-go. However, what no one had predicted was the bizarre way the match would end. Using his superior techniques, Jones had worked his way to a first-round TKO victory, and it was looking like another routine title defense for the champion. However, during one of the takedowns, Jones dislocated his big toe in a very gruesome way. Luckily for Jones, he won the fight in that takedown, securing his title. Had the fight lasted a few seconds more, maybe things would have taken a different turn.
Well, I wasn't planning on breaking my big toe. It's all nasty, man.
At number 8, we have Mark Hominick's hematoma. In any sport, head injuries are the worst, as they can lead to concussions and sometimes death. No wonder referees usually pause games when head injuries are involved. At UFC 129, Mark Hominick had challenged Jose Aldo for the UFC Featherweight Championship. During the fight, Aldo seemed to be the better fighter as he constantly hit Hominick at any slight opportunity. Despite being outclassed by Aldo, Hominick put up a good fight, refusing to back down. But as the fight progressed, the damage started to pile on Hominick, especially on his head, and after some time, he developed a hematoma, a condition caused by clotted blood that forms in an organ, tissue, or body space. Hominick's hematoma was so bad that it looked as if he had grown a forehead on his forehead. At some point, the referee had no choice but to pause the action and have the doctors check on Hominick. Although he lost that match, he gained the respect of the fans for the endurance and perseverance he showed in that match. Number 7. Leslie Smith's exploding ear. It is often said that if you don't have the heart, you should never see a live MMA fight. Imagine seeing a person's ear explode right in front of you. This was the case in the intense UFC 180 fight between Leslie Smith and Jessica Eye. During the fight, Leslie had taken several hard shots to the side of her head. This made her ear start swelling very early in the fight. Unfortunately, in the second round of the fight, I landed a deafening punch to Smith's already swollen ear, causing it to literally explode. Even with her ear almost torn off, Smith still wanted to continue the fight. However, the referee had no choice but to call the fight in favor of Jessica I. For our next case, meet the famous Conor McGregor. Number 6. Conor McGregor's broken leg. Conor McGregor is arguably the biggest star in MMA, and as such, people would pay a fortune to see him fight in the octagon, especially when that fight is against one of his long-term rivals. In a UFC 264 match, McGregor was to face Dustin Poirier for the third time since their extended rivalry.
You disrespect a person's kindness and take it as a weakness, you must pay.
McGregor had won the first leg of their long rivalry back in 2014, and by their third meet, he was keen on asserting his dominance. By the time the fight started, both fighters came out aggressive, and it was still unsure who would come out victorious. However, as the fight progressed, McGregor threw a kick that landed on Poirier's elbow. When McGregor returned that foot to the ground, the force caused a severe fracture to his tibia, resulting in a TKO loss for the Irishman. After the fight, his broken leg required serious surgery, and since then, the injury has cast serious doubts on his future in the sport.
And I thought, maybe I won't be able to do this again.
Now for one of the most heart-wrenching injuries in MMA. At number 5, we have Michael Bisping's detached retina. In an epic showdown at the UFC on FX in 2013, Michael Bisping fought off Vitor Belfort. During the fight, Belfort landed a vicious head kick that took Bisping to the floor almost immediately. That one kick detached the retina in Bisping's right eye, leading to a severe injury that almost cost him his career. After the fight, Bisping had to undergo several surgeries to repair the damage, but the eye never fully healed.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so I don't really see out of it, and the vision's very blurred.
While there were speculations about his continued involvement in MMA, Bisping was lucky as he was back in the octagon a few months later, and even later won the middleweight title. He also went on to get a 7-4 record with only one fully healthy eye. Number 4. Miesha Tate's broken arm. Ronda Rousey and Miesha Tate had one of the fiercest rivalries in women's MMA. Rousey was a former Olympic judoka who was known for her deadly armbar submissions, while Tate was known for her never-give-up spirit. Well, when the two met in 2012, Rousey was determined to win at all costs, even if it meant breaking an arm. During the fight, it wasn't long before Rousey had locked Tate in one of her deadly armbar submissions. However, Tate, showing incredible toughness, refused to tap, even as Rousey extended her arm beyond its breaking point. Well, like most things when they reach their breaking point, Tate's arm broke, after it reached its breaking point. Although Tate later tapped out, it was too late, as the damage had already been done, leaving her with a broken arm and one of the most painful injuries MMA has ever seen.
My element emotionally and mentally, and I think that now that I've corrected that, it won't happen again.
Number 3. Corey Hill's leg breaks. Corey Hill was an up-and-coming fighter in the UFC's lightweight division, known for his towering height. Unfortunately, his career took a devastating turn in 2008 when he faced Dale Hart in the Fight for Truce. In the second round of the fight, Hill threw a hard leg kick at Hart, aiming to damage his opponent's lead leg. However, when Hill's shin connected, his leg snapped in half, instantly collapsing under his weight. The fight was immediately stopped, with Hill wincing in pain.
But it was like, my leg, something's wrong with my leg. Still, didn't know the severity of the injury.
His injury was one of the most graphic injuries in UFC history, and it marked the end of the fight and nearly the end of his career. Number 2. Tim Sylvia's arm break. At UFC 48 in 2004, Frank Mir faced off against Tim Sylvia for the interim UFC heavyweight championship. However, what was supposed to be a battle of strength and skill quickly became one of the most shocking submissions in MMA history. Just 50 seconds into the fight, Mir caught Sylvia in a deep armbar. As Sylvia tried to get out of the submission, Mir held on with all his strength. What followed was a snap so loud that even the commentators noticed it almost immediately. In an unbelievable show of toughness, Sylvia tried to continue the fight, but he already had a fractured arm. The referee had to step in and call off the fight. While all these injuries might seem serious, you're about to witness the most serious injury in MMA history. Number 1. Cyborg Santos fractured skull. Michael Page has been known for his unpredictable striking and showboating style. In 2016, he faced off against veteran fighter Chris Cyborg Santos at Bellator. Initially, what started as another showcase for Page's striking abilities ended in one of the most horrifying injuries ever witnessed in combat sports. Midway through the second round, Page unleashed a flying knee that landed directly on Santos's forehead. The impact was so powerful that it immediately sent Cyborg to the canvas in agony, and just like that, the fight was over. Initially, the extent of the damage was unknown. However, it was later revealed that Page's knee fractured Santos's skull, leaving a literal dent in his forehead. The X-ray images also revealed that Santos had suffered a broken frontal sinus and needed immediate surgery to repair the damage. The severity of the injury left the MMA community in shock, as a fractured skull is almost unheard of in the sport.
Michael Page hit Cyborg Santos with a knee so hard that he fractured his skull.
This singular injury brought home the reality of the dangers UFC fighters face when they step into the cage. So there you have it, guys, our top 10 worst injuries in MMA. Do you think we missed anyone? If you think we missed anyone, let us know in the comments below. By the way, which one do you think was the most gruesome?